Hilary Hahn, and I am backstage at Tanglewood with
Steve Ansell.
And what is your job here?
My job is to play the viola with the Boston Symphony. I'm the principal violist. So,
Are you always the principal violist with the Boston Symphony?
Well, when I'm in the orchestra, I'm the principal violist. When I'm not in the orchestra, Kathy Bazrak is the principal violist.
Mm-hmm.
And when she's not in the orchestra, Ed Gazaleas is the principal violist, and so forth and so on.
And so what do you do outside the orchestra?
I play in the Muir String Quartet.
I've always wondered, as a chamber musician, then playing in an orchestra, which activity benefits the other most?
Oh. Well, they both benefit each other. They're mutually beneficial. However, I think that training in chamber music, especially playing in string quartets, is hugely beneficial for orchestral playing.
Why is that?
Because you have to learn to listen. And you have to learn to react musically to what other people are doing without the benefit of a conductor, without anybody telling you what to do. You have to figure out the harmonies for yourself. You're actually 1/4 of the interpretation of a quartet. So it's a very it's an organic, interactive relationship, and I wouldn't say that you're more responsible for the music when you're playing a quartet or when you're playing an orchestra. Now you're very responsible in either case. Oh, sorry. This computer, I don't know, I stand in front of it. Anyway, but the skills that you get from playing quartets are very, very beneficial for ensemble playing in the orchestra.
I think a lot of people would wonder, since there's a conductor, when you talk about learning to listen, how do you apply the listening from chamber music to a situation in which you're leading a whole group of people playing the same notes and the conductor is seeming to coordinate everyone?
Well, in fact, conductors do most of their work in the rehearsals, and they can be helpful in performances. We'd like them to be, but the conductor can't do everything.
Right.
They sort of shape the music generally. They tell what groups of instruments should be primary and what secondary, so they balance the orchestra. But they don't. They can't do everything, and so we have to be responsible for that as well.
And you also teach?
I teach at BU.
Of the three jobs, the teaching, the orchestra, and the quartet, what do you like about each?
Well, we'll start with teaching. With teaching, I enjoy passing on what my teachers passed on to me. I think that's actually the most important thing that we do as teachers, is to pass on what we know, and we are standing on the shoulders of those who came before us. So the second thing about teaching that's very gratifying and important is, for me, is to actually see my students learn something.
That would be rewarding.
Yeah, it's very rewarding, and actually it's not, I mean, they do learn, but it's a gradual process. And what you hope, of course, is that your students will learn after they leave you.
Right. So you set them up to continue to learn.
Exactly. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And the quartet is, I think, that's both the quartet and the orchestra are performing continuums. Just like being a soloist. It's the same thing. So there's a tradition, there's all this music that needs to be explored and to be presented to the public. And so that's, I mean, in both cases, that's really, we are, as performers, we are custodians of a great art. And we have a responsibility to present that art to the public, whoever the public is, and to make sure that these great works of art live on.
Well, thank you, Steve.
You're very welcome.
It's a great under.